Time is money. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. I did time is money as our idiom, our proverb for Supersize Your Business today. And I shoved these in my watch. I said, time is money. I was going to go find some bigger bills. And I'm like, these were sitting by my ring light, so I will just use them. So I shoved them in there just to get people's attention and say, hey, time is money. What do you think of this idiom, this expression? Do you believe that your time is valuable? So many people, so many of us, and even when I was younger, I totally discounted the value of my time and energy and effort. But guess what? Our time, our energy, our effort, what we put into things is the most valuable resource that we have at our disposal. Our energy, our time, our attention are all limited resources, right? Money, on the other hand, is we believe it's a limited resource, but it absolutely positively is not. It's an unlimited resource. There's always more money. We can always make more money. We can always find more money. We can always attract more money. And money replenishes itself. But time, we only get to live this moment, this instant once. We only get to experience this particular time right now, and then it's gone. Some of us have had experiences that bring that more home than others. I had a death experience when I was 50, and so I definitely value my time more now than I did before that experience. Before that experience, I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off, doing everything and anything under the sun, and was busy, busy, busy. But I would say 80% of my time was on non-vital activities, non-important things, or things that should have been delegated and been other people's responsibility, and I was just overseeing them. It's the whole do you work in your business or on your business thing. And I actually did this exercise once. One day, somebody didn't show up for work, so we didn't have enough people for the food manufacturing business. And so I popped on the line to fill in and help. And as I was standing there I was cooking, it's called, as I was doing that job, I sat and figured out and calculated how much time I had spent in the last couple of years working in my business instead of on my business. And I started thinking about, well, what does that cost me in terms of my business growth and opportunity and developing of the business, because I was spending time doing $15 an hour work instead of $1,000 hour work by getting new clients, drumming up new business, coming up with new ideas and creative things that could move the business ahead. And so I love this subject. And the subject of time is interesting anyway, because once you do a lot of philosophical work and studying, you're like, okay, well, time is relative. Time is, a whole lot of things, but mostly it's made up just like everything else, right? Our words, our vocabulary, and we've made these up, and we've made these agreements with other human beings so we can communicate and understand one another, so we can create a society that moves us all, hopefully, in the direction that we want to go. But I get to thinking, and I learned, and every couple of years, I learned something that I haven't heard before or seen before that I incorporate into my daily activities and my routines because it makes my life better. One of those was the one thing. The one thing was revolutionary for me because I tended to always do a gazillion things before then and was not really focused. I had a few key priorities, but there were like millions of things that I would continue to say yes to and do that really weren't in alignment with what I wanted in any area or aspect of my life, except in terms of priority setting. So that had a huge impact on me. Another one was, there's so many different time management systems and way to determine and value your time and decide what you're going to do. But one of the things I learned from a student turned mentor of mine was that he color codes all of his activities, what he's doing, to keep kind of track of what he's doing. And he gives them a green, a yellow, and a red stoplight type system. Yellow means he's in danger and he probably shouldn't be doing this, but he is. Green is any revenue generating activities for his business. And he just does this with respect to business. He doesn't do it with respect to his whole life. But, you could do it with every area. You could do it with relationships. You could do it with your spiritual beliefs. You could apply a system like this to anything. But he does red, green, and yellow. And if it's red, he doesn't do it. He delegates it. He automates it. He stops doing it. He says no. If it's yellow, it might need a little bit of his time or supervision or overview, but he doesn't physically do it himself. If it's green, he does it because it's the money-making, most important things for his business that he needs to have his finger on and be doing. For example, visioning and planning the big picture goals and objectives for his organization. And then that's broken down into who does what to make those things happen. And all he does is oversee the progress of those particular projects and activities for his business. But then there's things that he does in his business. For example, he creates his own content. He does his own coaching videos and things to make a group coaching program to share his word with more people than just he could deal with one-on-one. But there's things that he loves to do that he will himself do in his business. And that, we've all known that. I've heard that a gazillion times, or I said a gazillion twice in one video. A lot of times, right? We've heard things a lot of times, but until we're ready to actually hear or see or understand the message and apply it in our life, it's just like all the other noise in the world around us. We just filter it all out. And so that's one of the other most recent things that I remember capturing and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that a part of what I do for my business. And am I there yet with respect to the red and the yellow and the green? No. Am I on my way moving toward that faster than I would be had I not listened to him about his method? Yes. Is it super duper simple to color code things or to rank things or to rate things? Yes. But how many of us just don't do it when we realize that if we just applied this simple filter or tool, it makes everything in our life so much simpler, so much easier. So to me, yes, time is money. And I look for, when I find myself wasting time or doing things to procrastinate, asking myself, well, what is it that I'm trying to avoid? What is it that I'm not wanting to do or wanting to see that I'm participating in this activity that I normally wouldn't? COVID-19 was huge for me personally with respect to that, because I found myself doing things and not doing things during the pandemic that I haven't done for years. And I was like, okay, well, why am I falling into this trap that many other people are falling into as well? Well, it's because I was feeling a greater sense of chaos and uncertainty and the unknown. And so instead of continuing to feel that way and continuing to procrastinate and fall into those traps, I created a challenge. I created the Get Up and Go 30+ day challenge. I think the first one I did was 10 days. And I'm like, yeah, 10 days isn't enough for what I want to do with this. I want to take this framework that I've discovered decades ago that I've used on myself automatically, and I want to turn that into something that I can teach other people. And then I want them to practice it so much that it installs it in their subconscious like it's installed in mine, so they automatically apply it without even really having to think of it, because it guarantees they get better results after using it and facing a challenge or a change than before. Better results by better results for them, because each of us is different. So what's better to me might be worse to somebody else, and what's worse to somebody else might be better to me, because we're all different. So we have to have our own scale of measure. So that was my response. Instead of just following and staying in that loop of, okay, not eating right like I should because we can't get to the grocery store and get all the fresh produce I want. I'm not exercising like I normally would. It's winter, which is my excuse sometimes, but other times it's like, literally I broke my exercise bike. I actually wore my exercise bike out beginning of COVID, and so I need to go get a new one, but I didn't get a new one. I just substituted it with yoga and floor exercises, and I kept doing something. And I think that's an important thing, to know that my time is valuable and I don't want to squander it and waste it. And when I do catch myself doing that, it's perfectly okay, especially if I'm spending my time and choosing to spend my time in entertaining leisure activity ways. There's a difference between, hey, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to go do this, shopping or go to a park or do whatever, or hang out with my grandkids, versus I'm just being interrupted all the time and I'm going and letting the world outside of me dictate how I spend my time, if that makes sense. So that was our Supersize Your Business Challenge today. Our Do One Thing Every Day That Centers You Challenge was a fun one. I thought it was a fun one. I even did it this morning. It was all about foods that center you. And so it has a target, and in the center is like the bullseye, a food that completely centers you. Then even more centers, more, and then a bit more. And I just wrote on it what foods center me. And then I, again, reminded myself, look at my positive and negative associations with food, and are they appropriate? Do they serve me and center me, or are there some relationships and thoughts and beliefs that I have about food that I need to say, do I really believe that anymore? Who does that belong to? Does that serve me well or not? Some things, yes. I say chips are not good for me. I eat them very rarely. Greasy foods, processed foods are not good for me, I eat them very rarely. That serves me. That belief about food serves me. But if I believe that I should eat every caramel that I ever see, although sea salt caramels are my most centering and favorite food, if I believe that I should eat them all the time and I could have them in unlimited quantities, that probably wouldn't be a belief that serves me. So that's why I added that to it. So that was our centering challenge today. Get Up and Go challenge starting on Thursday. I was thinking the first was Wednesday. So I feel like I had a whole bonus day. This will be our final 30 plus day free Get Up and Go challenge. Absolutely positively not gonna be my last challenge. I've been doing challenges for decades, literally since I was a little kid. So the probability that I would ever stop doing challenges is slim to none. I would probably have to be on my deathbed and I couldn't possibly do them. And then my challenge would be to get off my deathbed. So I'm going to be doing challenges. I just created the Get Up and Go challenge for COVID, for the pandemic. It's my way of just keeping myself moving during the pandemic and making sure I didn't get stuck in those stuck time suck loops, and helping bring other people on with me, because the SOAP framework, which is the framework that I named it the SOAP framework during COVID. I never called it anything before. It was just my process for handling challenges and changes. And some of us in our lives, believe it or not, have had a whole lot of challenges and changes that the rest of the world has no idea about. And most of us have had more challenges than we ever even admit to ourselves. We all have a process for handling change, for handling challenges. Some part of our process is good, some part of our process is bad. And we have, for us, and we have to figure out what that is, and we do that during the challenge. We unravel all of that, and then we replace it with a perfect for you framework. And then we learn different tools along the way. I added tools, I think probably maybe the third or so challenge, I added a tool a day, because I was like, I have all these tools in my toolbox, hundreds of tools and modalities and things that I've learned over my decades, and I call on them when I have a change or challenge. Why would I not share those with other people and let the people in the challenge pick and choose what works for them best? We've got decision-making tools, we've got analyzing alternative tools, we've got all kinds of systems and process and automation of rituals and progress creation tools to make it work for you, the participant. So I'm excited to do this one. And then I'm not sure what's going to be next. I'm honest, I'm not sure what's going to be next with that and for that, but this will be the last free one that I do for 30 plus days. I think I want to reevaluate my whole use of challenges. I love doing challenges. I'm going to continue to do longer challenges. I know people that lead challenges for marketing purposes only and to bring people into their high-ticket programs and high-ticket coaching programs. It's a super effective model. I get it. I know it. I know how to use it. I choose not to. It's not the direction I want to go with how I'm contributing and the difference I'm making in the world. But for a lot of people, it is. For a long time, I thought I wanted to be a coach and consultant, and being in the online space, absolutely positively don't think that's the direction I want to go anymore. Done a lot of it in the past, done masterminds, done it all. Have you ever felt like I've been there, done that for so many different things? Sometimes I feel that way, but it's like, what does that call me to do next? And that's what I'm evaluating in 2021 as part of doing one thing that centers me, getting to know myself, and what makes me tick is centered to what I want to create in the world for the rest of my life. I'm to the other side of middle age now, and so I'm not thinking, oh, I have all this time ahead of me now. I'm thinking, what do I want to really do to leave a legacy, to make a difference, really make a difference in people's lives, not just kind of float through and make a difference like I have been. I want it to be more thought out and more purposeful than that. That's it. That's all I've got right now. I am getting ready for the next challenge. I want to do a couple things different for the challenge this time. Slow today. I'm already getting phone calls. So that's it. If I can help you anyway, ask in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll be sticking around just to fill you in on what I'm doing as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. Have an awesome day.